WW7KC.
Good evening, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, please Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage on the internet. There you'll see the exact frequencies we transmit on and the frequencies we receive on, a little information about our organization. Also, you'll find a link that will take you to YouTube, where we stream our nets held Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08, known as the 08 machine, with a specific tone for this net only, 103.5 for Cougar Mountain. Again, that's a tone of 103.5 for Cougar Mountain for this net. With that information out, I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact before the net gets fully underway. This is Dave, KD7CYM. Hearing none, welcome to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. Again, I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Checked in by video link is Ron, KD7QKU, Lee, N7KC, Wade, W7ITL, Jim, N7QO, James, WU7N, and myself, Dave, KD7CYM. Is there anybody else that would like to check into the net this evening? Hearing none, we'll start off with Ron in Tacoma, KD7QKU.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dave. Good evening to the group. KD7QKU here. Well, let's see. I'm trying to think of what I've done the last few days. I worked on, I'd taken my antenna down off the pole that was out by the shed, my 23 centimeter. And I have a tripod and I cut a piece of pipe and I have it all set to go up on the roof now. I had to add some connectors, end connectors to coax. When I moved out of Bellevue, I cut the connectors off so I could pull the coax through. and I needed to put them back on. I wasn't sure which way I was going to pull it, so some of them I cut connectors off of both ends. But anyway, I got a bunch of coax here with no connector. Some of it I can identify, some of it I can't. I thought a bunch of it was 9913, but as it turns out, I don't think maybe there's as much as I thought I had. So I don't know. But anyway, I put on quite a few end connectors, and then today I put on, I had some RG8, and I put on some PL 259s on that. So that's a piece of cable, about 50 foot, that's ready to go someplace and do something. Let's see, what else have I done? Not a lot, I guess. We have a Stillicum Lake over here, and it has a kind of a little boat ramp thing, but there's no place to park your pickup or your boat trailer, and they call it a park, but it's not really a park. So if you backed in, the trailer would be on the little ramp or kind of a little thing, and the truck would be in the middle of the street, and then you'd have to park in somebody's front yard. Well, they used eminent domain, and they taken away a person's house over there, and they're going to make a real boat ramp and a trailer park and put in a bathroom. So there was a big lawsuit and everything over for a couple of years, and Stillicum finally won. The guy apparently had made a mistake when he built the house. Part of it was on the park property. I guess the lot was smaller than he liked, so he encroached on the park's property. So anyway, they were able to win in court. And I drove over the other day, and they had bulldozed the house down and everything, so hopefully maybe by next spring they'll have a new boat ramp. I'd like to go over there and go fishing, I think. Okay, that's I guess enough for now. Oh, we had, I think, 1/1600ths of an inch of rain, and it's 56 degrees here now. So back to net, 87 QKU.
QKU, thanks for that. Let's try Lee N7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay, there we go. Lee N7KC here in Port Angeles. Well, good to see you all. Yeah, sorry Bob's not feeling, I'm not feeling so sharp either. I got a COVID shot today. Got my flu shot 2 weeks ago. Never even knew anything happened, but boy, do I have a sore arm tonight, and I just don't feel sharp at all. Of course, I don't feel sharp most of the time, anyway. So there you go. Okay, rain-wise, we've had pretty good. The last I looked today, we've had at least half an inch, and that was before dinner. I looked out, and the gauge, the precision gauge I have, when the cylinder is full, it's 1 inch, and it was just halfway up the cylinder, but I didn't walk up to it and actually measure it. So that's a good rain for here. We're just thankful for it. We really can use it. I got a really neat thing. I got a three-axis accelerometer. It's right here. Darn camera won't focus, but anyway, it's a WIT motion gadget, X, Y, and Z acceleration, and then it gives X, Y, and Z magnetic or Earth magnetic field values, plus it gives rate of rotation around all the axes. And there's an app on my phone where it Bluetooths to the phone. You can plug it into a computer. I think I've got the software to actually get it on the computer. I don't know yet. I haven't had a chance to read you have to download, the theory of operation and all that. I've got it. I haven't had time to read it yet. So forth. So this thing, I'm just curious as to Dickens. I'm going to mount it in the car and let Paula drive, and I'm going to watch and see what sort of accelerations and this and that we experience in the car just for fun. So you guys are gadget guys just like I am. So this is pretty cool. $45 Amazon. Anyway, I decided I could spend that. It comes with a little guide booklet here, which opens up, but it's just enough to get it running. You have to go someplace else to get the full story, and I haven't been able to read it yet. So that's all I've got here. Yeah, I quit transmitting for some reason. Am I back? Yeah, okay. Did you hear that about the accelerometer? Okay, very good. All right, that's all I've got, Dave. Back to you. This is N7KC in Port Angeles.
Hey, let's go to Tacoma to Wade, W7ITL.
ITL, go ahead and skip over me. I'm still trying to get set up here.
W7ITL, copy that. Let's go to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Well, Ron, working on the 23 centimeter antenna. Good luck with that. Yeah. I don't know, several different ways you can do it. But it sounds like at least you'll get Mike out there to help you one of these days. Good luck with that. Talk about bulldozing things down. Just out of curiosity, have you driven by your old house lately? I know there was discussion about it being bulldozed down. Do you know if they actually accomplished that, or what? Just curious about that. Lee, COVID shot. Sorry you're not feeling well. Interesting. I was just speaking with a friend today. His wife was saying that he has felt pretty awful ever since the third COVID shot that he got. She's calling it long COVID. I'm not sure that it justifies being called long COVID, but he's suffering some side effects, long-term side effects from the vaccination, and for that matter, I am too. Not as bad as him, though. And let's see. 3-axis accelerometer, $45 from Amazon. You have no idea how much they charge for those things to stick them in your airplane. That would be interesting to see what you could do with that. There's bound to be some software out there somewhere that would make that useful. Maybe you could sell those things. It wouldn't necessarily be government approved, but sell those like as an emergency instrument for aircraft or something. Interesting. And let's see, what did I do today? Well, I went to a friend's funeral today. Actually spent most of the day doing that, visiting with old friends and whatnot. And it rained here. Fortunately, most of the rain fell when we were in the funeral. But definitely don't need to water the plants today. I still haven't figured out which box holds my rain gauge, so I can't tell you how much I had here, but definitely don't need to water anything today. And surprisingly, I was expecting it to get chilly, but it's not. Right now I'm showing 59 degrees outside. It seems okay. Maybe just a little bit cooler than you'd expect, but that's because of the dampness that's out there. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
7QO, thanks for that, and time for another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Well, let's go to James, WU7.
Thank you, Dave. WU7N, Northeast Bellevue here. Ron, access to water, that always seems to be a big issue. You wouldn't think it would be up here with all the water that falls out of the sky, but I guess for boating and such, it's still an issue. I remember in Seattle it was a big deal because people were just co-opting what was supposed to be public access to Lake Union, Lake Washington, one of those. They're just extending their lawn out and putting big fences up, and they were being annoyed by people who were saying, no, that's still public, and just kind of driving across their lawn to launch their boats. Never found out what actually came of that. That sounds interesting. A $45 accelerometer. Well, here's one that I have an accelerometer that was given to me. Don't know how close I can get before I go out. This is, you can see it's about twice the size of my fingernail with 8 connections. And I don't know off the top of my head if it's 2-axis or 3-axis, because there is an X and a Y arrow on the same plane as the circuit board. But there could be, they just assume that, well, that's the X, that's the Y, the Z is up and down, that is right angles to the circuit board. So anyway, I have not tried this one out yet. I did look it up, and the box of stuff that my neighbor gave to me, I went back to him and asked, "Did you intend to give this to me? Because I think this is a little, at least at one time, was very pricey." And Jim, my condolences. Weddings and funerals do bring people together, but the latter is always kind of a sad event, no matter how hard everybody tries it not to be. So anyway, that's it for me. At 1/4 in Northeast Bellevue here. This is James, WU7N. Let's turn it back to our net control. Take it away, Dave.
7N, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7CYM in Lake City. Well, I've got 55 degrees and it's overcast. Boy, about 45 minutes ago, a gully washer came through. I couldn't believe with a little wind, it was bouncing off the windows with big drops, and that lasted for about 10 minutes, and then it sort of just gradually drifted off, and now it's just a light mist going on here. Well, for me today, it was domestic chores around the house, and I did some internet surfing, and that was kind of fun. Looked at news, and sort of depressing to see what was going on nationally in the news. But boy, I got a 1/4 inch of rain here, and I was looking at the news in Florida. It looks like they're going to get close to 15 inches of rain in some places. So I guess we should be very grateful that our rainfall isn't that bad, nor do we have to put up with a storm coming through. Hurricanes aren't a wonderful thing to deal with. So that's about all I've got to say. This is Dave, KD7CYM. So I'm going to send it up back to Ron, KD7QKU.
KD7QKU here again. Would Jim, you ask a question about our old house? It's gone. They bulldozed it down. The guy rented it for about a year, and then it sat empty for a few months, and then they put up a temporary power pole. The neighbors called me and said they put up a temporary power pole, so that's a bad sign. So then next time they called me, they said the track hole was over there and they were crushing it. So let's see, what else have I got? Well, not a whole lot, I guess. I'm kind of anxious to hear what Wade has to say. I want to put my antenna up, but I think I'm going to wait until maybe he gets the repeater working again. And then maybe I can locate it a little better. If I receive a signal, maybe I can turn the antenna before we get it, completely bolted in and everything, and make sure it's working as good as I can. Otherwise, I'll probably have to use James' house as a location on the QRZ to find out what the signal where the signal's coming from and move it a little bit south. So I looked up the Aegis Sound Repeater Group, whatever the repeater's called, 14708, and it didn't have a QRZ thing. Maybe I was looking at the wrong deal, but I couldn't get a compass heading on it. So that's about it, I guess, for now. He's shown us a bunch of pictures. I'm not quite sure what I know kind of what I'm seeing. So back to net, KD7QKU.
QKU, thanks for that. Well, let's go to Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay. Am I getting in? Yeah, okay. Well, Lee here, N7KC in Port Angeles. Well, I'm just messing around with the camera. I can get a better picture. Wait a minute, I'm hearing myself here somehow. I don't understand that. But anyway, here's what the thing looks like, the accelerometer. It's about 1.5 inches square, about 1/2 inch thick. And here is a digital TV station, here a commercial station in the area at 470.3 megahertz. And you can see the sharp skirts on it, and that little spike on the left-hand side is called the pilot. There you go. I don't know why I'm hearing myself, so I got to look into it. N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. Back to you, Dave.
KC, thanks for that. And your audio is fine. Let's go to Wade, W7ITL in Tacoma.
Over Bert. KC disconnected. N7KC. W7I.
W7ITL. Unfortunately, we didn't get any of that. Might check the tone on your radio. Wasn't even a carrier. No audio from you, Wade.
Can you guys hear me now? This is Whiskey 7, India Tango Lima. Do you copy?
Copy loud and clear.
All right, yeah, I have a couple different screens up, and I'm not seeing you guys' response, so I was kind of just looking at my output, and so I did get a chance to tell you what I was talking about, so I can be really brief here and just kind of summarize what I said. So I was saying today I was working on a couple of things. I got to play around with the spectrum analyzer to kind of get everything finalized for the 1.2 gig downlink. And I worked with Lee for just a little bit before the net to kind of go over some of the settings and making sure I was utilizing the spectrum analyzer correctly. And then once maybe today or tomorrow night, I'm gonna try to get all those things that I figured out, documented, and kind of put on a rough draft kind of layout of the repeater there, how it's going to look once we put everything back together. Besides that, I did go to a parent-teacher conference with my niece and walked around the school, did about 12 flights of stairs. It's a pretty big school, Stadium High School here in Tacoma, and she showed us all around her different classes. We got to meet one of her teachers, her pottery teacher, so that was pretty fun. Haven't had dinner tonight, so after the net, I will be getting my late dinner. So that is pretty much it for this round. I will turn it back to net. W7ITL.
ITL, bon appetit. Looking forward to, I'm sure. Let's move on down to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Well, Jim, you are looking better and you are sounding much better than before. That's good. Dave, hurricane. Yeah, I went through 2 hurricanes in Houston. They are not fun, and I think what Florida is going to get hit with is going to be worse than anything I've gone through. So I wish them luck down there. Ron, thanks for information about your house. Man, that's kind of depressing that someone would buy the property and just bulldoze it to build something else there. But that's life, I guess. Lee, your audio is good. However, I did hear a delayed echo of you on 2 meters. Not quite as loud as it was as your original signal, but I definitely heard something in the background there. Don't know what happened there, if it was something involving Echolink or what. No pun there. Anyway, we got you. We got what you said just fine. And Wade, yeah, what I got out of that, did you say pottery teacher? That was never an option when I was in class. I don't know, all kinds of different things, different courses. I don't know. I would be curious what exactly they do with that. I did take one course once upon a time, which I thought was a little peculiar. It was an option, a printing class, and they actually had an old-timey printing machine, and this fellow was teaching us to set type and how to print newspapers the way I presume they did in the 1800s or something like that. It was interesting, but I think totally useless. I found it strange that we'd have a whole class doing that, but my guess is the pottery class might be a similar sort of thing. Just happened to have some teacher who was skilled in that and maybe offer it as an elective. I don't know, just curious about that. Anyway, interesting to hear all the different things everyone is doing. Things to occupy our lives when we're doing something, not doing something else. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
7QO, thanks for that. Well, let's move on back to James in Northeast Bellevue, WU7N.
Jim, you hope that any course like that, like making pottery and how to skin animals and how to print using the ancient type press, you hope that it all stays irrelevant. We're a very interdependent, complex culture worldwide now, as COVID showed us with all the supply chains. You might be surprised how things like gardening and husbandry might suddenly come back into vogue very quickly. I just got a notice on my phone that said the rain here is supposed to be stopping in 20 minutes, and that is an interesting app on my phone. It tells you when rain's about to start, when it's about to stop. It does make me want to remember to silence my phone in the middle of the night, because I really don't care if it rains at 2 or 3 a.m. We actually got quite a bit of rain about 2 or 3 a.m. this morning. I heard the rain coming down, and it really soaked the area, but it didn't last very long. So I don't know exactly how much, because I don't have a precision gauge out, but it definitely made it so you didn't have to water the plants. This going, I'm going to try and hang in here till the end of the net, but I'm going to go ahead and cut this one a little bit short and hand it back to Dave, our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. This is James, WU7N.
WU7N, thanks for that. And this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. High school classes. Boy, you know, this modern day and age, I guess that high school students can take coding. You know, that's really kind of neat. But I remember when I was in high school, I took a photography class, and that was kind of exciting. So we didn't have basket weaving, unfortunately, but the photography class was kind of exciting to go through. And that sort of gave me a stepping stone to my career. It was really an enjoyable class to take. And that's about it that I can say. So I'm going to move it back up to Ron, KD7QKU. QKU.
I lost my tone in my radio or something.
KD7QKU. Move on to Lee, N7KC at Port Angeles.
Okay, M7KC, Lee at Port Angeles. How now? Am I getting it okay? Okay, great. Well, very good. Well, this is really nice. The streaming, first off, let me say that the Discord video on everybody I'm seeing is just beautiful. It's really, really nice. And I'm sorry that Covington Jim is not on here. I'd like to see his mug. And what's going over to YouTube, the YouTube stream is outrageously nice too. But I gather that's digital all the way. Anyway, so it's fun to see it. It's inch by inch, it's looking pretty slick over there at the Watts site. Anyway, I don't really have anything else, and I'm just shot down. So I think what I'm going to do is just exit the scene here and say it's been good seeing you guys, and maybe we can jump on here Saturday night. So with that, I'll say 7-3 guys, and we'll see you later. It's really quite interesting. It's quite something. So, good night.
N7KC, we got your 7-3. Thanks for joining the net this evening. Let's go to Tacoma to Wade, W7ATS.
W7ATS, you might have noticed some things have been changing on the screen. I've been trying to get the code to be more fluid, so that's intentional. When you're seeing video stop, that's me adjusting the bit rate. Since we are doing our net, it's a good time to test these things. So right now, I had my video going up to the repeater at 1080p. Since we don't have a digital output right now, it doesn't make any sense to have it that high of a bit rate or resolution. So right now, the video you're seeing is at 720p or 720 by 480. So it's just a little bit more resolution than an NTSC signal. It looks like I have it set to about 30 frames a second, and a couple other variables I've adjusted while we were on the net. We're transmitting up to the repeater site at 4 megahertz of bandwidth. So it seems to, now it looks like it's coming out pretty good. There's been a couple pauses here and there. I'm trying to figure out why it's doing that. I don't know if that's just the decoder up there is having problems with the high RF up there. Maybe we need to shield it a little better so that it's not receiving modulated signals from outside sources other than its intended source. So maybe some RF beads on the power to kind of clean up the signal. Maybe that'll help. I don't have a lot more to say. Other than that, I'm just keep working on this project when I have time. So I'm hoping to try to get some of these kind of finalized variables figured out as far as the gain, power gain, and all that figured out before I bring it back up to the mountain. So I'm not going back and forth and wasting gas and time. So all right, well that's it for me. I will turn it back to net. This is W7ATS, back to net.
ITL, thanks for that. Get another ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Let's go to Jim, N7QO in Covington.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, let's see. The only response I have to all of that, Jim, you were saying something about husbandry. I remember when I was in college, there was a fellow who lived maybe like 2 or 3 doors down from me. He was kind of furious. He's saying he has a master's in animal husbandry from Ohio State, and he says his goal was to become a veterinarian. He said, but his grade point average was not good enough to get him in to vet school at the time. He said, well, about the only thing that can do for me is I could work in a fish hatchery trying to squeeze eggs out of fish. So it's like, whoa, interesting. Yeah, I can tell you some other guy that I flew with who was saying something about being a veterinarian's assistant, but wow. Anyway, yeah, I don't really have anything else to add at this point. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
Well, let's go to James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue.
Thank you, Dave. Well, I don't know if Lee's still hanging in here. I found out that my accelerometer is available, it's just the sensor, no software, for about $6.50. And it is a 3-axis accelerometer gyroscope, Model 6 DOF 6-axis accelerometer gyroscope. So I guess it's a 3-axis accelerometer and then a 6-axis, maybe it has, maybe they're counting all the axis, 3 for the accelerometer, 3 for the gyroscope, and then there's a 16-bit A to D converter. And I noticed that the one like you have runs about $47 plus tax on Amazon, but maybe you have a cheaper source on that one. Are you still with us, Lee, or did you call tonight? Disconnected. Sir, I just got the disconnected signal off the repeater there. So I'll send him an email. Anyway, so one of the, since I've not been feeling well, I've just been sitting going through some parts. I found interesting surprises. One of them, for example, an opto isolator. I just had some random ones, so I was testing them. And if you don't know what that is, that's a little light-emitting diode on one side of an IC, and then there's a transistor on the other side of the integrated circuit. And so you can have complete and total isolation by running a little bit of current through the diode. Of course, you don't see the light because it's inside of black plastic, but that lights up and illuminates the transistor so that the transistor will conduct. And just on a whim, I checked the gain of just the transistor, not even using the diode, and it was over 10,000. And I got, you know, that's not normal at all. Sometimes the gain is like 3 or 4 for these things because it doesn't have to be a whole lot because you're just making a switch. So that was interesting. That was kind of an odd part in the box. Another odd part in the box was what looked like little strange dual inline packages, but they only had 8 legs on them, and they were in a big long package when you normally see like a 16-pin IC. Finally identified the part, figured out what it is. There's actually a little reed relay buried inside of the dual inline package. And once I figured it out and was brave enough to actually apply some power to some of the pins, I could actually hear a little tiny ting-ting noise when the relay would open and close if you listened very, very carefully. So I have one of those made in Mexico. Don't know how old it is, but not seen one of those before. So anyway, that's kind of the things I've stumbled onto just as I was going through some boxes around here, some of which have been given to me some time ago, and I just never bothered to go through them. So maybe there's something to be said for being forced to slow down for a bit. This is James, WW7N. I think that's about all I have to say for tonight as well, and I can feel my voice is going, so I'll give it back to Dave.
7N, thanks for that. Well, let's see, I'll take a little bit of a pause and see, would you you like to wrap up the net or go another round?
Now, I think I lost my tone.
Transmitted okay there, Ron? Everybody wants to go another round, so let's go to Ron, KD7 QKU.
KD7QKU. Well, I thought you told me you could hear me. So anyway, I taken my DMR radio over to the Cam Club on Saturday. Was gonna have the guy put UHF and VHF. It's a DMR radio, but it's anti-tone, and it'll do VHF and UHF. It's just that it's not programmed. So that turned out to be quite an ordeal. The guy was he wanted to put in more than I really needed. So there was 350 repeaters, I guess, in the state of Washington, and he wanted to know which ones I wanted, or did I want them all? So anyway, I'm going to go back on Saturday if I do, and I'm going to ask him to take DMR out, and I'm going to bring a list of the stuff I want put in. I just want the same thing that's in the other handhelds I have. A couple weather stations and the local repeaters, and that's about it. Stephen, like I say, he wanted to do a lot more than I thought. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm through. I don't have much more either, Dave. I'm ready to say 73, so 73s, everybody. KD7QKU.
Let's say Wade, W7ITL.
W7ATS. I'm going to say 73 as well. Looks like my video's coming in okay, just a little choppy. But, yeah, Ron, just give me a call tomorrow sometime. We can look at that radio too. And I know how to do that stuff as well. It is a little complicated on the DMR radios to program channels because it's not just a channel list, it's like a zone list. So, yeah, I don't know if the guy was helping if he was just pulling in repeater lists that are from like the repeater website, I forget what it's called, but yeah, you can do that and it makes it pretty easy to load. But yeah, nice seeing everybody, and I've seen Lee, and I've seen everybody, James, David, Jim. So we'll talk to you guys all later.
W7ITL, thanks for that. And for a final, let's go to James, WU7N.
Well, I appreciate everyone showing up tonight and sharing what they have for as long as they wish to. That's always nice. This is James, WU7N, 73s, everybody.
Thanks for that, James. And this is Dave, KD7CYM. Button up the net this evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. On the 08 machine, we'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 147.08 for our voice transmissions during the net. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7CYM, signing off the net at 8:48. Good evening all.